Free work is not actually free work, guys. You actually get a lot out of it. And I will fight tooth and nail about this until the day I die. Doing free work is what got me to $30,000 a month with multiple employees in my marketing agency. 1 year ago today, I was delivering pizza in the hot ass sun with no AC. And I went against what all my mentors said. I went against what everyone says online. And I started to do work for free. And what happened was I got a free client doing work for free on a free trial. I did a good job and I ended up getting crazy amount of referrals from that has led me to all of the clients I have today. Now, my very first client, I actually got him from an advertisement. And when I had I had him on a DM funnel, I believe. And I booked a meeting from the DM funnel, and then I got on a sales call with him. And at this point in time, I had probably made 5 to 10 sales calls. So I wasn't really good at articulating myself, but I'd learned to start like bullshitting a little bit, because when you're first starting out, obviously you have no credibility and you don't really know what you're talking about. So you kind of have to bullshit a little bit. And I remember I pitched him the price. And this client was, he was like a younger Asian guy. He was a little bit hip. He wasn't very old school, newer business, but he had like a lot of funding behind it. And I ended up pitching him on a $3,500 a month contract. And I could see it instantly that he was a little bit hesitant. And I was at the point where I just wanted to get a client and start working and start proving myself. So I didn't want him to be in this state of hesitancy for much longer. And I basically just told him, hey, how about this? How about I come? How about I shoot your ads, run them for free for a month? And then after that, if you still like it, you can stay with it. All I ask is that for you to pay the ad spend. And he eventually agreed. And what happened from that was that I shot the ads for free, nothing in return. I even paid someone to come along with me. So I was losing money out of my pocket, and I actually did such a good job for him that he was begging to pay me after the first week of running ads. He said, hey man, you did such a good job, let's lock it in. And I ended up getting him on a $3,500 a month retainer. Still have that client to this day. This was last October. I've had him for 9 months. So I think this is where that, like, I don't know what it is about people and their short-sightedness that holds so many people back, because it was very logical to me, and it might be very logical to you, that doing free work isn't actually free. Because you get 3 things out of it. One is you get a testimonial that you can use to get more clients. And a testimonial is very freaking valuable, boys and girls. Like, I would actually pay to get a good testimonial because I know in the long run, I'm going to get more money off of it. So having a good testimonial and a good case study is what you're going to get out of free work. And I think that that's more valuable than getting a $2,000 retainer, $3,000 retainer. If you told me when I'm first starting out, I'll give you 5 clients right now at $2,000 a month, right? But you don't get to have any testimonials or case studies out of it. Or you could have 5 clients at $0 a month, but they'll all give you the most incredible, highly stouted reviews / testimonials / case studies possible. Which one would you go with, realistically? And when you think about that, think about what's going to get me more money long term. Obviously, the case studies and the testimonials are way more valuable than getting paid monthly. And I was in some communities and in some groups, and when I told them that I was going to start doing work for free trials, I even had ads that were offering to pay for someone's ad spend, and they thought I was crazy. They're like, you should at least be getting something out of it. And look where I am at today. So me getting $1,000 and risking even losing that sale because I'm charging even $1,000 is literally nothing compared to what I've got from it. And I knew this at the time. And so I went with my gut and I did that. So testimonials and case studies, guys, you should be paying and begging for these. These are much more valuable than any amount of money, guys, seriously. And another thing is free practice. Where are you right now? Like if you're even watching a video about getting your first client, you have no first client, and which means you don't have any experience. So you got to be realistic with yourself, be honest with yourself and say, do I even deserve to get paid right now? And the answer is no. You don't deserve to get paid right now. So you should be doing it for free because you don't know what you're doing. And you pay for practice. You do it for free and you get practice for free. Guys, my girlfriend is in OT school right now. So OT is occupational therapy, and she's hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt learning how to do this skill because the hopes of making 6 figures when she gets out of college are there. That's why people go to college. This is the way the world works. You don't get paid to learn when you go to school. And she's going to do her field work next year where she goes to a hospital and she's working full-time 40 hours a week. And she's not even getting paid for that. Like, I think that's ridiculous, but people do it because it pays off in the long run. So I think that in the SMMA space, they think that there's some sort of exception to this law, this rule that society has used forever, which is that learning is a valuable skill that you pay to do, you pay to learn. So when people are doing free work, not only do they get a case study and a testimonial out of it, but they also learn for free. Like when I did that for free for that client I was talking about, when I first started doing it, I had only launched my own ads. I remember opening up Facebook. I was at my parents' house opening up Facebook ads for the very first time. I can remember it vividly. And it just looked like a maze. It was like this big, vicious monster of a software. And I remember when I was scared to click on buttons. Like I wouldn't click anything on my ads, change anything on my ads without consulting with my mentorship because it really looked that finicky and that technical to me. And it was so foreign. And by the end of the free work that I did, I'd gotten a lot more familiar with it and I'd gotten more confident to then do it with other people. And the third and final thing that free work gets you is an experience to learn with zero pressure. And this is the most important thing, is that you want to be operating at zero pressure when you don't know what you're doing. There's already pressure when you're taking someone else's business, someone else's image, and you're promoting it in your own eyes, and you're doing things to their business that they've worked so hard on that you can fuck up really bad and end up costing them money. Like this is their livelihood. And when I'm first starting out, I'm under the impression that I don't want to fuck up anyone's shit and be responsible for it. And maybe you're okay with that. And I think that if you're okay with that, go for it. But me personally, I felt an immense amount of pressure when I first started just because of how much I had, I had their credit cards, I had their social medias, I had their videos. All these things represent their business and their image, and these are very, very valuable to them. So I think that operating under pressure is very important. And so for those 3 reasons, testimonials and case studies, operating under no pressure, and free practice, do you still think that doing free work is free or selling yourself short? I don't see it like that. I think that this is a situation where retards only think short term and short term money, and they can't delay their success for bigger success in the future. And I actually had a friend like this. And actually, I had a business partner like this. And he could only think in the short term. And there was a point last year where I actually was willing to deliver pizza and take out of our profits and say no to jobs. So we had people offering to pay us $2,000-$3,000 for a camera gig, but they're one and dones. They're not reoccurring. And I didn't see the future in it. And I actually was talking to him a lot. And I was like, bro, we got to keep saying no to these jobs and start going after the clients and start learning the skills that we want to do, even if we have to take pay cuts. And it was something that he couldn't comprehend, really, is that, sure, we're not getting paid in the short term, but in the long term, we're going to make so much more money. And I even had mentors that would always tell me, and you might even be in a program right now, and there's people telling you, like, hey, you should at least charge something, right? Don't do a free trial. At least charge them like $500 or get them to sign a contract. And all of these things are barriers to get your first client that really don't need to be there, right? Because if you remove that initial contract, if you remove that initial payment, and you just say, hey man, like this is the price, but let me just do it for free for a month, see if you like it. And if you do, we can continue with the price. If not, then we can both go our separate ways. And what you'll find is that this actually pays off better. And hold on, there was something I was going to think of. What was I just talking about? When you're on the sales call? Yes. And then after you say that, you say, let's book in the shoot. What day are you free? You free Tuesday? You free Monday to get set up in the CRM if you're not shooting the actual ads? And then you go and you shoot. You don't send a contract. You don't get a deposit. You go and you shoot and you learn and you do a good job and you get the case study. Don't be a fucking idiot. Don't be in this for the money, short-term money. If you're in this for the short-term money, go ahead and do it. But just know you're going to be capped and it's going to be a lot more difficult and people are going to be very upset with you. Don't do this. I really am struggling to understand, right? You got to get in this mindset. Long-term thinking, delayed gratification. I don't understand how when I'm in all these discords with these kids, these 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids, and they're charging money for stuff they don't know how to do, and all they can think about is, hey, I got paid $2,000 this month, but I did a shit job, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I turned down a bunch of good clients because I wanted them to sign a contract, I wanted to get paid, and it's just fucking Timmy mindset, like such a stupid mindset to me. What's the logic behind that? What's the logic behind putting these barriers between you and your first client? This is what separates a good entrepreneur and someone that makes a lot of money and someone that has a good foundation to like a hustler. Maybe like those dudes that are scalping Pokemon cards. Or dudes that scalp sneakers. Dudes that do quick flips. The hustler's mindset, which is short-term cash, and it's just a constant rat race. You keep going, you keep getting cash, and you find once you get in the space that those are the people that don't last. And those are the people that end up creating a job for themselves. Every move that you make should be 10 years from now, how can I benefit from this? If it's a one-off gig and you don't really need the money and it's $2,000 and you know no more work is going to come from it and it takes 20 hours a week compared to doing something for free to get a good case study, even reading a book, right? There were times where I turned down camera gigs for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to literally read a book. I was reading this book. Where is it? When I was reading this book, I turned down so many gigs to read this book because I knew that this book was going to make me a lot more money in the future than I was getting paid with these one-off gigs. And I was right. And there were people around me that thought I was stupid. They thought I was crazy because I said I would rather learn. I would rather deliver pizza than get paid so I could learn, and it's going to pay off in the long run. And look where I am and look where they are. So you got to do a serious psychoanalysis of yourself. And next time that you make a decision, you got to say, how can I make this decision so that it will benefit me in 10 years? And if it doesn't benefit you in 10 years and you don't need the money, then is it really a good decision? I would say no. Because $2,000 today means what? You spend it and it's gone. But skills and retainers and testimonials live forever. And they actually help you get more clients. So you might be the type that does all the self-improvement this, self-improvement that. But you do short-term moves and you don't think long-term. So if you're going to get anything out of this, no friction, no contract, do it for free. There was a time after, so while I was in the talks with my first client, while I was filming, after I filmed, during those 2 weeks, I wasn't sure if I was even going to do a good job. So I went out into my backyard and I filmed some ads that basically said, I'm looking for one business that I can actually do work for free. And not only that, but I'll pay $1,000 in ad spend out of pocket for one lucky business owner once I hit 500 followers. And I still think that ad was a good idea. Obviously, I didn't end up needing to use it, but that just shows like where my mindset was at the time where I was making $0. And I very quickly soon after made $8,000, $20,000, $30,000. So I think that ad is still a good idea because you don't look thirsty. You don't look like I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get a client. You're just saying it just looks like a giveaway. At 500 followers, I'm going to be giving away $1,000 of ad spend. And I thought that was a genius idea because it's a no-brainer offer. You get a testimonial out of it, you get free practice, and you get no pressure. For $1,000, that's a pretty good deal. And you could potentially get a client out of it too. So, little food for thought there. But remember this. Don't think of free work as free work. It's really just delayed income. It's delayed satisfaction. That's it.